Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build and run a SaaS. I'm Brian.
And I'm Benedikt. Each week we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we work on our products and keep the lights on with consulting. Today is November 6th and I am tired.
I hear you, man. This is episode number 16 and I'm feeling meh. I'm fine.
Why is that? What's up?
Well, what am I think so I left last week, saying I want to have my prototype in a position to be able to just demo it. And for what it's worth, like it is extremely, extremely close. Like the component pieces of it are all ready to demo, but they don't all work together. So I'll just for the sake of kind of giving an idea of where it's at. It's this idea of providing a tool for managers of remote teams to send out an automated, survey from time to time, and get a sense for how their employees are feeling, and like feelings of isolation. Are you feeling any of that? How many meetups did you attend? How many video conferences or how many video calls did you do this week? Like a handful of questions that I'm certain that I will revise very, very quickly. But the basic is there's and it operates as a Slack bot. And so there's an onboarding component for the administrator to say, yes, install this application into our workspace. And here are the handful of managers. And then there's an onboarding component for the managers who receive a message saying, hey, we have added X tool to our workspace. Who are your team members? And a couple of additional questions about how frequently do you want to check in? Do you want to ask this question or not this question? Whatever. And then team members receive a notification, a message from the bot where it introduces itself and then asks those questions. So those are like the three different things. Those each, I can demo each of them independently. And so that's good. I feel like, okay, cool. Like by the end of the day tomorrow, if that's where it still stands, then that's what I will record and do. What it doesn't do is what I want to be able to do is to install it. Okay, check it out. Administrator just got this, so I'm just going to add these couple of managers. Now let me hop over into this screen. I'm manager A, and I just received this. And I'm going to indicate that these couple of employees are on my team, and boom, and just like the whole seamless thing, like working together. It doesn't do that quite yet, and it is tantalizingly close. Anyway, that's where it's at, and I'm feeling the tension right now of it's time to definitely transition a bit more away from thanks developer, killer proof of concept, I'll take it from here. Like it's not there yet because I still do not have enough time. If I'm waiting for can I wait on myself or wait on a developer, wait on an outsourced person? I am still in the zone right now where I will be waiting longer on myself. But I feel the tension of, oh man, like I just need to just be able to, I just need to be able to get in there and like start tugging away at things. So, that's where it's at, man.
Remind me, what's your goal ultimately? You said demoing. Does it mean you want to in a state where you can install it on potential customers' Slack channels?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I was thinking
go ahead.
At this stage, you could, instead of installing it in their Slack, just record a video of the components and pretend it's all working.
For sure. Yeah. I think, and challenge me. And it's just that I want to, I want to start charging and installing it. Like, demo, what do you think? It's X dollars per user per month. Okay. Yeah. Wait, can I get your credit card? And so, I think where I could use, a bit of pushback or feedback is if I'm, well, gosh, I mean, I guess I could demo it now as it is and try to get the sign up and then race like crazy, to finish and get it into an installable state if they say. That is probably what a lot of listeners would encourage, because that feels a little bit like, getting to the answer faster. So that's,
I mean, if it takes you the same amount of time to record a video, then it would take you for you to finish the implementation, then probably wiser to finish the implementation. But if you feel like it still takes a couple days, weeks, whatever, to get the implementation done, then maybe recording those components individually and then, I don't know, starting conversations and showing those videos as kind of a proof of concept might be a good idea, especially as it, like, I feel like if you install it, then they need the administrator, the manager, and a team member to actually try those out, where with the video you can just show it to one person and they see all parts of it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm like thinking a dozen different things in the back of my head right now as you're talking. So, but okay. I feel like for sure the major takeaway here, this is always so helpful, Benedikt. Just even talking through it is one way or another. By tomorrow, like, conversations need to be beginning no matter what. Like, and just to force myself to start it down that way, because it's not, I mean, it's not as if like I'm going to start reaching back out to some of these people I've been in touch with and they're like, oh sure, I've got 30 minutes in 1 hour. It's going to be, oh, hey, do you have this time available? Do you have this? Like, just to begin the conversation. Okay.
Yeah. And I think you have something to show, even if it's just parts,
right?
But
right.
Would be good enough to get, I mean, it's good enough to demo the idea and probably good enough to get a commitment from them. Like, if they like what they see, then maybe you get a written commitment of, we'll sign up for it in 2 weeks when it's finished or something like that.
Yeah, totally. That's a great approach. Like, I don't know why I didn't talk to them with the goal of being commitments, not expecting.
Yeah, or just just either getting a commitment from them to sign up, or at least telling you why this wouldn't work for them.
For sure, no doubt. Yep, right on. The encouraging thing that I just keep seeing happen, just kind of like anecdotally or like just through feel or whatever, anytime I talk about remote work or tweet about remote work, like, it gets engagement. And like, I just kind of fired off this like silly list off the top of my head yesterday about here are the good characteristics of a home office, and it's at I don't know, but like 50 something, likes and dozen, something more than that comments. And it's just like, it's as versus, some pieces of my consulting business where I'm like, hey, jobs to be done interviews will seriously help your business. Like, crickets. And but then anytime I talk about remote work, people are like, yeah, totally, this is interesting. So I don't know, that's I just that feels encouraging. It feels like, a bit onto something, so to speak. Yeah, 85 likes, 31 comments, 14 retweets from like a silly list about an office.
Do you have an idea why that is? Like, what do you think?
I think
one type of tweets getting so much more engagement than the other type of tweets.
Well, I mean, I'm sure a lot of it just has to do with who my audience is, but I don't have a very big audience, and so the very directly related piece to it is something that Justin Jackson has been talking about a ton, which is it's way easier to sell ice cream on a beach, even if there are 15 other ice cream stands, and so like everybody is talking about and thinking about remote work. Not everybody, but like it's a huge growing trend right now.
Yeah.
And so it just has me thinking through, this other thing that Patrick McKenzie said a week or two ago, where he was like, you need to find where you intersect two difficult things, and that is your sweet spot. That is your zone. And at least for me, it feels like the intersection of employee engagement and motivation and remote work, and then a third intersection of startups, like not enterprise people. I do not want to help enterprise people go remote. Like, that sounds like that is not a fun life. I would love to help startups think about employee engagement for their remote teams. That is what I want to do. Anyway, so I felt like that came into some focus as well.
Do you feel like your audience on Twitter is mostly people that would be a good customer of yours, like a good client of yours for your consulting side? Or is it more people like you who happen to work with startups who happen to be remote?
Yes, I think that's, I think that the majority of people who, and the other encouraging thing about those things, like so many of them is like people that I don't even know and that aren't following me, just like saw this thing, it's engaging, it's interesting, they did something with it. I definitely think like the majority of it's been a struggle of mine. The majority of my audience, I don't think are not good consulting clients, because they're too much like me. Like, I am not my own client, and and a lot of people who like what I'm putting out aren't great consulting clients, but are probably very close to good, product clients potentially. Or definitely are working regularly with the people who they would, could refer to my product.
I noticed similar thing in the past, that a lot of my consulting clients are not part of my audience, like, at all. They are just, maybe I get a referral from someone in my audience.
Yeah.
That then leads to a consulting engagement, but like there's usually no direct overlap.
Yeah. I do actually think that a lot of my audience on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is probably where my clients are, but I don't do a good enough job of thinking through like the things that I post on LinkedIn that get, tons of impressions don't do well on Twitter and vice versa. But Twitter's fun.
Yeah, Twitter's way more fun than LinkedIn.
So it's easy to be there and to be thinking, okay, this is how you like talk over here, and this is what people are going to like. Okay, yeah, they're going to like this. And I don't do that enough over on LinkedIn. But anyway, dude, I've rambled on enough. Why are you feeling tired? What's up?
I woke up way too early today. I mean, way too early. It depends on when other people get up, but for me it was way too early, so I'm sleepy the entire day. And when I didn't sleep well, I usually don't do a good job developing stuff. Like, I started working on a couple of things today and deleted everything an hour later because it was like just not good and not working at all, and I wasn't able to figure out what I was doing wrong. So yeah, sleep is important.
It really is. It's one of those funny things, like, doesn't matter how many times you hear it. Absolutely. You still just like, there's a part of you that pushes against it, and sleep's a superpower, man.
Like, one of the problems I have in the recent weeks is that once I wake up in the morning, my brain instantly switches on, and then it's basically I'm done with sleeping. I can't fall asleep again. So yeah, usually it's just get up and try to make the best out of it, even though I'm sleepy the entire day.
Yeah. I was trying to man, I was trying to find this article that was just talking about entrepreneurs and sleep and how much better your decisions are and et cetera, et cetera. I feel like somebody just shared that. I'll see if I can find it. But well, I hope you. What's the plan for you to? Are you going to go to sleep at like 7:15 as soon as we hang up with this? As soon as we hang up the call.
Probably not, but I should probably go to sleep earlier, and then hope I just don't wake up as early as I did today. Mm-hmm. But yeah, going to bed earlier is usually a good way to get enough sleep.
Yeah. My wife and I have been saying like we need to institute a rule to each other that after 9:30 p.m. or whatever, electronics are left in a basket on the dining room table. Just because it's like so easy to get distracted and go down some rabbit hole or whatever, and just affects both of our sleep so much.
Yeah, that's true. Do you read a lot, like at night before going to bed?
Yeah, and I do really well when I institute this rule for myself of reading I'm only allowed to read fiction at night.
Yeah,
and so that like I'm reading the 5th season right now, and it's beautiful. Like the writing is really nice and like slow and poetic. That means that I make it through I'm not kidding, like a page and a half, and I am out. And so it's going to, I calculated it. I think it's going to take me 3.5 years to read this book. I always have to remind myself, like, wait, what's going on? Because I'm like making such slow progress. Anyway, so all to say, when I don't, look at my phone at night, and I just like, okay, we'll watch like a little silly TV show with Laura and I, and then I'll read, a fiction book. I do pretty good. I fall asleep, but it's usually too late, or it's like later than we should be awake. But anyway.
That's true. That happens to me as well. Luckily, I don't have problems falling asleep, but as I said, once I wake up in the morning, even if it's way early, so instantly I'm thinking about something business related.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know.
How are things with Userlist?
Slow and steady. Haha.
Good.
We're making progress, but the last couple of days, so we had a lot of new trials in the last 2 weeks, and but for some reason, a lot of them are not converting. And even like yesterday, we had a customer who's been paying for a month or two cancel because they were like, we were paying, but we didn't set it up yet. Like the integration wasn't done, so we're not getting any value out of it. We want to cancel. And they also suggested that they would like to have like an infinite trial until they are fully integrated, like all data flowing and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I mean, yes, I get why they cancel, because obviously they got not getting value, but it was like so frustrating to have churn because people just don't get to integrate it. And yes, maybe it's too hard to integrate, but then again, others can do it in a day or two. So why can't you do it in 2 months? And I had a real, like yesterday, I was really down for an hour or two because I feel like I'm putting so much effort into this thing, and it's just like, it just doesn't work.
Well, no, I mean, it's the long, slow SaaS ramp,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
okay.
It's very long.
Yeah. So you've had did you say you've had a lot of trials, or an uptick of trials, or like?
There was a small uptick of trials, and some looked promising.
Okay.
But like, as I said, like sometimes it's like one customer converts and an hour later another customer churns.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like for every celebration that you made progress in getting more MRR and more revenue and more customers, suddenly just a short amount of time after that, someone else decides, this is not for me, and quits again. And I'm like, We're never making progress.
Well, I mean, as long as you're learning something and you're in it for the longer haul, then that's progress. So acquisition is good. Like you're within acceptable benchmarks, or even there's some work to be done because you guys are still early figuring it out.
Yeah, even there's like we still don't get enough trials to move the needle in a good way.
Okay. When people do activate, do they stick around?
Once they activate and actually send data into Userlist and also send emails, then they stay on forever. I want to say that's not quite true, but once they get set up, they definitely stick around for a couple of months at least.
Okay.
And some even churn then, but then it's usually because they are consolidating tools and don't want 3 or 4 email tools in their setup. That's basically the only reason why people quit right now, other than not setting it up. The big obstacle for getting people for activation is like they have to get into they've got to set aside time, developer time to install it, set it up, configure it, put triggers in place, etc., etc. Yeah, that's the big problem. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we made it quite easy for people that are using Segment, because then it's just like connecting it to Segment and you're done.
Yep.
But people who are not using Segment at least need to put some triggers in their code that send at least user data into Userlist, or maybe even more sophisticated events. And from my perspective, I think it's not that much work.
Right.
Like it's a couple lines of code here and there, but it seems to be a challenge for some. And I'm not sure what else to do there.
Well, I don't know if other similar services have offered this, but if you were able to offer some sort of concierge white glove onboarding where, hey, like here's Benedikt's calendar, schedule 20 minutes and we'll hop on a tuple or like a screen share, and you can walk them through the installation or do it with them. Like, I mean, unless you know them personally, they're unlikely to grant you access to their repo and for you to send up a pull request. Userlist is in. But maybe 20 minutes on the phone, like let's do it together, and you'll be piping data in, and we'll talk to you same time next week.
Yeah, it's like we're dog fooding our tool, and we have an onboarding campaign, and one step in there is actually checking, have they integrated? Yes, no. And if not, we're basically offering that, hey, book a call with us. We'll walk you through it and answer all the questions you might have and how to get unstuck. But I guess at some points it's just like a prioritization issue on their side.
Yeah,
like if they don't want to do it or don't want to set an hour aside or something, or a day, whatever, then I don't know. There's not much we can do, I think.
Right. Do you have any idea what the take-up rate is on that offer?
Close to 0.
Okay.
So very few people take us up on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting, man. Yeah, that's a challenge to sort out, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just like it's emotionally draining to see people. Well, sometimes people convert is of course nice, but then churn for reasons that I feel like we can't do a lot about. It's no fun.
Man, I feel for you, dude. It's a mental game, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that in the long run, more people will sign up and stay around than decide it's not for them or it's too complicated or whatever.
Course. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. All right. Well, anything else you want to be sure to cover or put a bow on this one?
I think that's about it.
No, actually,
you said you will be.
Yeah, I'm out.
You'll
I'm
be out next week. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think I have a guest, but we're not entirely sure if the timing works out. But yeah,
okay.
There will be a replacement for you next
Replacement
week.
Brian coming soon. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a good week. Actually, so
you too.
Have a good 2 weeks, and we'll talk later.
Yeah, definitely. So show notes are at slowandsteadypodcast.com and slowsteadypod on Twitter for any feedback and comments. And yeah, see you next week.